America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
Aha. A few seconds early, and are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. Bring the mic down a little bit. Thank you. Is that good? All right. There we go. There we go. Welcome everybody on Facebook. A few minute delay. I'm coming on the show as of next week or the week beyond. Before that, the week after that. I'm sorry. We'll also be broadcasting on YouTube live. I was trying to set that up. I didn't have enough time to set it up before the show, so that'll be another way to watch us. You can always tune in on InTheMixRadio.com. Mix has 2 X's. I wanted to say a couple of things really before we really get into the show. So this whole thing today, I'm watching MSNBC with the whole Mueller situation. And, you know, of course, the president has said that the report exonerates him. And a lot of people are echoing that. And, you know, as always, the president takes what he wants from a certain report. But not only did they not exonerate him, neither one of the reports exonerate him, the Mueller's report or the Attorney General's letter to the Senate. Bloomberg.com wrote, Special Counsel Robert Mueller found no evidence of collusion with Russia, but failed to see, they forget to read this part, but failed to exonerate President Donald Trump on obstruction of justice, even though Attorney General Barr said he didn't find enough evidence, keyword enough evidence, to pursue obstruction charges. The report found evidence on both sides on obstruction and leaves resolve what special counsel views as difficult issues of law, Barr wrote in a 4-page letter to the Congress on Sunday. Barr quoted Mueller saying, while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. I wanted to bring that up because people are just talking about, I mean, you know, of course the president has tweeted that the report exonerated him. And of course that is not the case. Of course we have, this week, we have co-host Dr. Robert Baskerville, PhD, AKA Brooklyn Bob.
No one's going to recognize me.
Grizzly Adams is my new.
Well, you see me today. I'm like, I'm sorry, ladies. I didn't shave my head. I didn't shave.
You know, I was like, oh, man.
I'm a little rough today, too.
I was supposed to be prepared.
So, Bob, would you like to speak on, you know, because what we're finding, and the reason I'm bringing this up, what we're finding on the local level, on the national level, there has been an assault, an attack on truth and on facts. And that's where we live in this, what they call the post-truth era. And I'm still here to say that facts still matter.
Absolutely. I'm in full concurrence, and I think it's important that we acknowledge the actual assessment of the special counsel's report as put forth by Attorney General Barr. I have always been of the position that probative evidence of some sort of wrongdoing was found by law enforcement officials here in the United States, and that it was therefore important if we were going to have trust in the legitimacy of the President Trump's administration, that the investigation be allowed to proceed till its full conclusion. So I'm quite confident that the special counsel has conducted the investigation according to the highest levels of professionalism as stated by the DOJ, and am comfortable with the findings that he has reported. However, we need to note that the special counsel has not released the report to the public, and thus far the only assessment that we're getting is the one offered up by Attorney General Barr, and it just has to be said. Like you said, that according to the Attorney General's statement, while the president has not, no evidence has been found
That he
of
committed a crime. Right.
collusion, neither have the attorney, neither did the special counsel exonerate him. And what this means, and I want to be clear what this means, is that there are a number of ongoing investigations
That's where I wanted to go.
that have to be seen to their conclusion. One of which, perhaps the most important, is the current trial that is getting ready to get underway that examines the president's close confidant, Roger Stone's role in his communications. I don't know I don't even know what to call it, because it damn sure sounded like coordination to me.
Right.
But whatever Roger Stone was doing with WikiLeaks,
Right.
if it's indeed the case, has been reported that WikiLeaks founder Julia Assange is under sealed indictment, then that means that there is more findings from Russia-related matters that the public is yet unaware of. So, quite honestly, it's hard for me to square those two statements.
But, okay. I just wanted to add, so while the president is putting out this alternative fact, what we also, like you said, there are several ongoing investigations. More importantly, Tish James in the New York State Attorney General's office is going after several different avenues dealing with the family, the foundation, and everything, the finances, and these statewide investigations, learning from Nixon, who, when he stepped down, had his successor, pardon him. There is no pardon from state crimes. A pardon is only federal. So the state investigations are just beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he can put out this whole image that it's over. It's not over. This is actually just the beginning, because you have the House that has a plethora. I did that for Cynthia. Plethora, a plethora of investigations ongoing. I agree with Sandy. She said, I would like to hear from Mueller too. I would actually like to hear from him as well. I also wanted to, almost forgot, so we have Dr. Bob in the house today. Damon K. Jones may or may not come in via Skype. I'm not sure. Lorraine Lopez is not here today, taking care of personal business and handling some stuff. She will be back next week, so shout out to Lorraine Lopez. If anybody realized they didn't see her, she will be back next week. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in. I repeat this again for those that didn't hear me. A lot of people didn't necessarily want their name mentioned when they pop up on the screen. So I used to just shout everybody out when they pop up. Everyone did not want their name mentioned. So if you do not say hello, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, or say anything, I may not say your name, just as respect for those who, for some reason, didn't want their name mentioned. So I'm not leaving anybody out. Shout out to everybody. Of course, the regulars I know, Sandy Barnaby, like I said, Lorraine Lopez is tuned in. Uncle Frank said, mention me every time you see my name. Caitlin Gleason also.
Uncle Frank, what up?
Said that. Kemi Pogue and Osning is tuned in. Caitlin said, what's up, guys? Sandy Barnaby said, thank you for always being here. Now, I wanted to get one more piece of business out of the way first.
Did we finish our Mueller discussion?
Yeah. We're gonna touch that. This is so ongoing that we're gonna address this. We're probably gonna have a whole show on what's going on with that whole thing. But I just wanted to address the report and the findings of the report and what they mean, and what the president's saying basically is an all-out lie. And he is definitely the distractor in chief. And lying is what he does. We went from the era of what a president's saying, I cannot tell a lie, to I don't know when I'm lying. So this president is definitely not the most truthful individual, and I just wanted to check him on that. But I wanted to go, Caitlin said, hey, Dr. Bob. Frank said, what's up? So I wanted to address this one last time as far as the political election coming up. We had a candidate in Yonkers who was going around telling people that we did not allow her on the show because we were supporting her opponent that was running. And Lorraine is supporting Tasha, who Tasha Diaz just announced this week that she is running. She just sent out a press release this week. We had her on anyway. We had her opponent on anyway. Doing in a Nurse Shell race, we had another phone call from someone who thought we might not let them on, possibly because they read an article about their opponent. I just wanted to say this clearly so everyone can hear me. There are 43 municipalities in Westchester County. While it sometimes looks like I know everything that's going on, I do not. And there's no way that I can know the intentions of everybody who plans to run in Westchester County. It is the responsibility of the campaign, whether it's your campaign manager, your press person, the
Or
Democratic
just
Party, you, whoever, to contact us if you would like to appear on the show and talk about your candidacy. Is not my responsibility to reach out to everybody in the 43 municipalities. And this goes for elected officials too. They say sometimes I don't cover their events. Well, the people whose events have been covered are the people who send me press releases and have me on their press list and include me on everything that's going on. I'm not supposed to go out of my way to try to figure out what you're doing. It is your responsibility of your press department to keep us informed. That is their duty. And for those who do not send any information in, I can't write about what I don't know. So that goes again for the candidates that are running. It is your responsibility to reach out to us. And I will say, as I did mention the New Rochelle candidate, he actually got my phone number and called me, and he will be on after he makes the ballot. I think I recommend that all candidates wait till after they make the ballot. And anybody who stresses me about being on before they make the ballot makes me feel like you're not sure if you're going to make the ballot, to be honest. Once you make the ballot, you laughing at me?
Nah,
once you make
Lorraine.
once you make the ballot, there was no collusion. Lorraine got jokes. Once you make the ballot,
Lorraine is
now
funny.
for any candidate that's new to us, for anybody who knows any candidate who is not listening to this and can hear this, all you have to do is go to blackwestchester.com. In the top right-hand corner, there's a thing that says contact. If you click on that, you will get all the contact information, the phone number, the email address, and actually all the social media and every way to reach us. And let us know you're running, send us your information, and we will work with you to schedule you in. That's the process. So I don't want anybody else calling anybody else I know saying that because they thought or it appears or just they imagined that I was supporting a candidate, or lying, saying that they attempted to reach me and I ignored them. That is not the way to get on the show. That's not the way to start. It's just you starting off on a bad foot automatically. So I just want to state this clearly for everybody who can hear me, everybody who knows a candidate. They might want, if you want to reach the black and brown community in Westchester County, or if you're in a statewide office and you need to reach the community in Westchester County and the surrounding areas, you need to contact us. So that is all I will say. And Dr. Bob has a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to inform the viewers that it has, in fact, been the case that representatives from Black Westchester and People Before Politics have reached out to elected officials in the county to invite them on the show and to talk about important issues.
We just had that conversation
And,
with one yesterday.
Yes, unfortunately, they have been very slow to take us up on the invitation. I know that AJ and I and Damon have all talked about the importance of Black Westchester keeping its focus on its central role of informing the public of the political choices that lie before us in the upcoming election season. And I myself take the view that we do not need to submerge that general public interest to advancing any particular candidate's, candidacy. And so I applaud both AJ and Damon for their position, and it's certainly one that I am going to adhere to, even though it is well known that I also happen to be a supporter of a candidate.
And real quick, and we'll say this real brief. And Sandy, if you're talking about the individual who we talked about, he contacted me on the phone yesterday. If you're talking about somebody else, yes, please tell him to get in touch with us. I just want to say this one last time, and I'm not going to beat this horse, but I had to have a conversation with a particular individual, a candidate yesterday. We have relationships with too many people in this county, and some of them decide to run for office. Bob is working on the Andre Wallace campaign, and I had asked him on the show, does he feel confident that he can give a fair and impartial interview with the other opponents, because that's what it would take. Andre Wallace is a co-host of this show, a guest co-host. He will not be co-hosting while he is campaigning. Lorraine Lopez is working to support Tasha Diaz. Tasha Diaz is also a co-host, a guest co-host on the show. She's sat in on many interviews, including Yonkers Mayor Mike Spano. She will not be coming on as a co-host while she is campaigning. Peekskill Mayor Andrew Rainey is a frequent guest on the show, but he is campaigning. And while he is campaigning, he can come on. All candidates will have one appearance, solo appearance, if they so desire to come on the show. If they come back on the show, we have often, the candidates have asked if we will have a candidate forum, like we did in Yonkers with the city council race and the filling of Ken Jenkins' county legislator seat. All the candidates came on individually, and then we had a candidate forum for all of them. Same thing we did with the filling of Ruth Hassel Thompson's Senate seat. All the candidates, actually they called for a debate. We actually had a debate with them. So you get one appearance to appear, and then after that, if everybody agrees, we'll put together a candidate forum for that, much closer to the primary. So it's like one of them last chances for the people to get to see all the candidates before the primary. So that's that. That is the way it's going to be. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's as fair as we can be. And it goes even with those who are friends of the show, who some of them are not happy that they can't come on right now, but they're friends of the show, and I have to be fair and impartial to everybody. Everybody. So that's enough said to that. Shout outs, Matumbo Muhammad said, oh yes, thank you, Matumbo. Bob brought that up. Before we get into our interview, we have to give a shout out to Bob Slade, who has passed away. We just saw that knowledge. We just saw that Bob saw that on his phone, actually on the way in.
Right.
You want to say a couple words on Bob Slade?
I mean, Bob Slade is a long-standing radio personality here in the New York area that has been known for his courageous coverage of important issues to the black and brown community, and his passing represents an enormous loss, not just for his family and friends who knew him personally, but also for those in the media industry and in the broader public who looked for him to provide us direction and interpretation of the important events of the day. And we all join in expressing our condolences for his passing, and it is a reminder to everyone that a next generation of people, he has prepared the way, and the next generation of journalists have to be willing to pick up the mantle so that we don't lose, while we may lose his singular voice, we don't lose the broader contribution that he made for us.
And I just want to say shout out to him. People Before Politics stands on the shoulders of radio personalities like Bob Slade, rest in peace, like Bob Law, like Gary Bird, and many others who have brought you real talk for the community and news with the black point of view into your living rooms, into your radios, whether it be your car or your home or whatever. And we attempt to continue that tradition. And so a shout out to all of those who have come before us, just like I did in my acceptance speech at the New Flex thing. Shout out to all the traditional black newspapers that came before us. I received the Freedom Journal Award, and Freedom Journal was the first African-American newspaper, period. So it was an honor to receive that award, but we stand on the shoulders of them, and especially our local ones, the County Press, who celebrated the 90-year anniversary, and the Westchester Observer that's not here anymore. So, you know, all the Amsterdam News and everybody else. Oh, I just got, I didn't even know they were still around. Shout out to the Daily Challenge. It is actually, most people don't know about it. It's actually New
Out of
York's.
Brooklyn?
Yeah, it's actually New York's only daily newspaper. I actually used to write for them. I covered the Tawana Brawley defamation trial against Maddox, Mason, and Sharpton.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I covered that for the Daily Challenge. I had to ride up in a bus every day. The cops
Hell
were
of a
not
long time. AJ, you've been at it a long time, brother.
The cops were not very friendly to us. They were trying to arrest us for jaywalking, and they were trying to stop our buses. Like C. Vernon Mason would go back and forth, you know, on the bus, and they would delay the bus for hours. You know what I'm saying? To kind of throw them off. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of attempts to silence us. So yeah, I went up there, and that also. Also, every now and then when the Amsterdam News wasn't able to make it up, I actually guest covered it for them as well, or gave them information so they could cover it as well. But we were all up there in the struggle. I've been doing this for a minute, even before, you know, Black Westchester, the Daily Challenge. I used to write for them, and that was one of the first really things of that nature, that like what we do with Black Westchester. I guess paving the way for this. You know, going up there every day covering that trial. I got to know all three individuals. Well, I didn't get to know Sharpton well. I got to know his lawyer, Michael Hardy. I got to know C. Vernon Mason, who was representing himself well. And Alton Maddox, I got to know them very well. You know, and their family as well. Because, you know, spending time with them through that long trial every day, all day. So anyway, yeah, shout to the Daily Challenge. I actually just saw a post of, I guess, a current issue. I did not know that they were still in print. And I when I write my byline and say where I've appeared, I left them out. So I did want to give them a shout out to the Daily Challenge out of Brooklyn, which is, they say, the only Black weekly. I don't think just New York. I think period. I think they used to publish Monday through Friday, and then maybe a weekend edition. But I know every day, Monday through Friday, they come out. I know locally for people in Mount Vernon, I used to buy it at the newsstands at the 241st White Plains Road train station. Those newsstands used to carry it. I don't know if they still do. And I think the newsstands over by the Dyer Avenue number 5 station used to carry it as well. For locally, I don't know anywhere else that, like Westchester, that carried it, but that's where, I mean, this is going back, but that's where I always got my copies. So shout to the Daily Challenge that is still in existence and is my first newspaper that I actually wrote for. With that said, Donna Nolan, shout to Donna Nolan. She said, hello everybody, a little late, was waiting on a call from us. Okay, proud mama, she definitely is that. We started late. So you didn't miss much. We're just getting into our intro. We're just getting ready to get into our guests for the show. The Deltas are coming here.
Yo, I don't know the sound to make, but I'm excited. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. So we got 3 prominent women, Black women, who are representing the Deltas, and they're gonna come in, tell you who they are, what their some of the stuff that they do. And before that, I just want to get any last shout-outs out. Ken Bright said, true indeed, AJ. And Ken Bright also said, respect to Bob Slade, R.I.P. Robbie Mann said, shout out, and he said, R.I.P. Penelope, Noele. Pineapple. Is that a real name? Pineapple, Nole. Peace King. Peace to you, too. Karen Turnquest said, hi, guys. Sadie Barnaby said, thank you. I think I named everybody. A shout at Lorraine out, Jesse Van Loo, The Future Society, Donna Nolan, Ken Bright. DJ Slash. Wow, that's an old name from my hip-hop days. Shout out to DJ Slash. Wanda London's tuned in. Caitlin Gleason. Cheryl Blue. Brownlee Fox. Shout out to Cheryl, always tuned in. Chris Breezy's tuned in. Uncle Frank, I already said Uncle Frank. Kemi Pogue and Asnan Matumbo Muhammad. Trying to get anybody else who's already in. This is Facebook. And again, the reason we were late today, we were trying to sign up and set up. So in the near future, we will also be broadcasting on YouTube Live, in addition to Facebook Live, and several other avenues too. So, but definitely Facebook Live right now, like you guys are watching, and we will be on YouTube Live in the near future. Without further, shout out to D. Wilson, Alton Pegues, Alita Johnson, Glenn Butler. D. Wilson said, "Good evening, AJ Woodson, Dr. Bob."
Good evening. Good evening.
Rest eternal peace, Bob Slade. And everybody else who's tuned in, again, I'm only doing shout outs if you make a comment or if you give me a thumbs up, because everyone does not want their name mentioned. But without further ado, so we're gonna ask the three lovely ladies of the three Deltas to come in the studio and grace us with their presence. And we're going to go into our future segment for the day. Have a seat, pull your microphones up to you. You have access to one of these mics is hot. You have access to the computers in front of you to sign into your social media, do anything you want to do, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. So people are familiar with the young lady to my left, Cynthia Turnquest Jones, the first co-host of the People Before Politics radio show. This is episode 207, and I think she was definitely with us, I think, for at least the first 100th episodes, or very many of the first 100 episodes. So I'd like to welcome her and ask her to pull the mic up to her and say her piece and introduce who she brought to the studio with her this week.
What's up, AJ? How you doing? Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Hey, you saying how are you, baby?
Grizzly, how you doing?
Grizzly Bob.
How's everything? First of all, AJ, I just want to tell you thank you for having us here. We know that it's Women's History Month.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure when AJ and I spoke about this, and he was like, "Listen, I need to have y'all on the show."
Well, first off,
What
shout
was
out to
that?
all the women.
There you go.
This period, AJ.
Yeah, just all
Do it
the
right.
All the women. It's all women. It's women.
You-
We're
you-
very appreciative
Right.
here.
You end up getting an email saying that you didn't shout out all the women.
Yeah. Oh no, we don't want that.
I like that. I really appreciate that. So, AJ and I we were powwowing one day. I don't know where we were at, somewhere.
I don't know, but we're everywhere.
And AJ was like, I think it was on a ride home. We was in the car together. He was like, "Yo, y'all gotta come on the show." And so,
my bad. Wrong
came up with a
scene.
date. I didn't get on the screen yet.
Oh,
Shout! We have two. We have two shots. Thank you for Cruz for letting me know that the other shot was the wrong shot.
So, AJ said, you have to bring the Deltas on so you could talk about what you do in the community. And so I was like, And we came up with a date, and then I hit up the president. We had the president all the way at the end for Westchester Alumni
Hi,
Chapter.
how are you?
All right,
President
all
of
right.
Westchester Alumni Chapter. Give it a shout out. Shout out to Danielle Henry. And so there's many committees, and then Danielle will talk about that, Prez will talk about that, but there's many committees, and one of the committee that I'm a chair for is Social Action. And Social Action, there's a feedback, hold on a second.
Yeah, close the door.
uh-oh.
Sound like we had some noise coming from the green room. Sound like we had noise coming from the green room.
Cynthia, we can see a genuinely appreciative look on your face.
And so as a chair of Social Action, I have my line sister as well that's in the house, Gina Jackson. And so and there's other individuals that are, on the Social Action Committee, but Gina Jackson is here in the house also. Shout out to Gina Jackson.
Good evening. Good evening.
Miss Jackson. Mrs. Jackson, maybe. Okay, all right.
Before we go any further, I want to say to Cynthia and to everybody else who's harassing me, so everybody knows that I ain't never met a Pepsi that I didn't like, and I am drinking water. See, look on the screen. Look. I am drinking
AJ,
water.
give
I am
yourself one
drinking.
of those
I'm drinking
claps.
water. There's no
Great,
Pepsi. There is no Pepsi
AJ.
today. I ain't say I gave it up. I'm just saying one Pepsi at a time. One Pepsi at a time.
Pepsi at a
I'm not
time.
drinking Pepsi. I'm
One
drinking
Pepsi at a time. So that's one. So I'm so glad that Danielle Henry is here.
Yes.
Because she went through that same journey, AJ.
Oh, did you?
Ah.
Okay.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Pull the mic up to you. I want everybody to hear
Just
you.
about like with fitness in general.
Fitness and when you hit the
Yeah,
marathons. Go
Yeah,
on.
I did the 2015 marathon.
Okay.
I did all the requirements the year prior, 2014. I've been a runner now since 2013.
Oh, wow.
And I drink about a gallon of water a day. So it does flushes you out, makes your skin look fabulous. As it does.
We agree.
Absolutely.
And
The evidence is
well,
there.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's right.
And just makes you more alert. Sometimes if you have a headache or if you're lethargic, it's because you're dehydrated.
Yes.
So, drinking water is essential. I actually was, I think, 70, 80 pounds heavier. So
As was I.
it works.
Yes, yeah.
It works.
That's what I just want to say. So I started this year off, and I told everybody, I started this year off with a journey to be healthy, mind, body, and spirit. So, I've been going, we did the fast in the beginning of the year with
Are
the
you
church.
meditating too?
I'm
Doing your
trying to get there.
meditation?
I'm trying to get there. I'm not there
It's so
fully just
helpful.
yet. But went to the reading of the Bible every day for a year. So we have
Yeah,
the-
the devotionals
right,
each day.
right.
Me too. I
Well,
do the
well,
same
they
thing.
have my church gave us an actual
Word
reading
for the
plan,
day?
to
Schedule?
read the whole Bible in a year.
Yeah, I have
So
one
every
too.
day we have a scripture. We have scriptures that. So I've been doing that, going to 6 a.m. prayer on Wednesdays.
Yes.
I've been doing a lot more praying. So that's the spiritual side. The health. Been eating a lot more vegetables and fruits and all that stuff. I haven't given everything up, but I'm been really, really good.
In moderation.
And you can see my Facebook page. I'm always sharing little things that I decided to cook up and stuff like that. So I just felt like for the work that needed to be done too. I had went to the hospital. I was almost 100 pounds heavier. Sodium is the enemy. And it goes to retaining water from me. So that's where all that extra weight was retained water. So still Pepsi's still one of the last things that I have not fully
It's
given
okay.
up.
In
You know what I'm saying? But
moderation. You get
usually
there.
on the air you'll see me. I will have now a can of Pepsi and water. There is no can of Pepsi, and that's by choice, not because I didn't have no money. So I just wanted to say that because everybody calls me and be like, "Yo, so what you doing?" And I have accountability partners, other people that are eating healthy. Brenda Crump and I actually send pictures of what we eating
Brenda
today.
Brenda does this.
She's a vegetarian too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she a
That's
vegetarian
awesome.
or is she a vegan?
She know. You know what? I don't know the difference.
I think
She's
she's a
nothing but
vegan.
vegetables and
I'm afraid of her.
Yeah. But what she does is, because she needs the encouragement too. So what we do is we send each other, like I'll cook up some vegetables and put some chicken in there or something and dice it and show it to her, and then she'll show me her menus of what I'm eating this, and I get some ideas, and she. So when we don't hear from each other in a couple of days, we're like, hey, I ain't seen nothing in a couple of days, and we keep each other on our toes. So that actually helps a lot when you have people that, because everywhere I go, a lot of people want to cook for you, and a lot of people everything can go for you. I can't.
But
I can't
one
eat
of the
everything
things that
everybody wants to give me, like I can't.
one of the things that AJ has shared with me was that when we first started out this journey, he said he was doing far more walking.
I am now again too.
You back with the walking?
I'm doing the walking. I'm walking more places. I like walking the square. I live on 7th Avenue between 4th and 5th. I like go out to 5th. I go all the way up to Monday Lane. I go to 4th Street. Then I come all the way down to like 5th Avenue or 4th Avenue.
Right, because you used to walk
then
to the
walk
library
back,
every day.
And then walk back up 5th Street and then come back down. I'm walking back that direction, the library to the avenue. Just trying to do at least 3 to 5 days a week. Sometimes it's every day, but I can't guarantee. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes I'm working all day on the computer at home, so sometimes I don't get that. I try to do the up and down the stairs at home. So that actually, when I was just before I went to the hospital, that was the one thing that was keeping me alive with all the stuff that I was
stairs?
putting in there. No, the walking, because I had no car, so I had to walk everywhere out of necessity. And the doctor said that probably was the one thing, because my blood pressure. Let's put it this way. People have died with lesser numbers than what I've had for over the last decade.
Wow.
So it's only God that I'm here. And obviously God have more work for me to do, but I need to be obedient and I need to get in order. So I'm on this journey. I have more good days than I'm on it more days than not. So I just wanted to acknowledge that
I know
today.
Dr. Bob is your ace.
Yes.
Boom, boom. How's he doing
Oh, Bob's good.
with the eating?
Oh, I don't know.
well-
Bob tries to get me to eat all kinds
Nah,
of bad
well,
stuff. No, I'm just playing.
AJ gonna tell you. Well, listen, I'm not even.
What-
I'm
Come on,
I'm
man,
all
you
right.
can't
I
even
have
get
a
the words
decent.
out.
No, I have. I've been better at times than others, and actually, compared to the exercise and dietary regimen I was on, starting when AJ and I first met around the 2015, the last mayoral race.
Yes.
My you know, I fell off, as we might say, considerably, because I used to go to the gym every day for 2.5 hours and was very rigorous.
He was actually-
Every
he was
day I
actually- he
used
was
to
actually
run
bulking
5
up a little bit.
miles
He
and
was-
stuff. Yeah.
Then you-
Bob was bulking up a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. You know, I'm listen.
I go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay,
You
right.
you gotta have like a break, because especially when you're switching it up,
Mhm.
you know, you get sore.
Right.
And you have some stiffness sometimes, but then I also have a serious like vitamin regimen too.
You do.
Yeah, it's no joke.
I was
I'm
doing
trying
all
now,
that
that's where
stuff.
I'm trying to
I
get
do,
to.
I do D3, I do B12.
Yeah, I
every
was
other
coconut
day.
oil,
I do
everything.
turmeric, fish oil,
Yeah.
because just to reduce inflammation because of running.
Right.
And you know, as you get older, you could actually accelerate arthritis because of
Yes.
you're
Yes.
pounding on the pavement or the treadmill.
Not good for
running.
for knees,
So
especially the heavier you
gotta-
are.
Yeah, and that too, that can play a factor, but you know,
Right.
it doesn't matter. Arthritis is gonna come, even if you're not a runner. But
I'm
if
in
you
denial
are,
for Uncle Arthur. I am in denial. I'm in
it just
denial.
comes
He's
with-
coming,
it just
but
comes
I'm
with
denial.
age.
I'm in
It's
denial.
not even- it's
I'm not
not
claiming him. I'm in denial.
Yeah, it's not even saying that it's like hereditary. It just
Yeah.
comes with age.
No, I know.
And
My
when-
knees can tell you.
Yeah, so fish oil,
Fish oil.
turmeric,
Okay.
those two
Yep, you said.
will help with that.
Bob, remind me. We're gonna
and-
pick some of that up.
Yeah. And they come in different forms. Hard, you know, the soft gels, or even chewables. If you have a hard time
Swallowing, right.
swallowing, they have the chewable form. You get them at CVS. CVS always has buy one, get one free. It's
Okay.
usually at the beginning of the month. And it's really bad that I know that, but it's just that
No, hey,
my
this
supply.
is the.
It's not a game.
And I just shared that because we deal with a lot of politics, and I try to be as open. My life's an open book. I realize that there's a lot of people, you know, either through my spirituality, you know, positive things that I put out there on Facebook or whatever. A lot of people follow me, and a lot of people look for me for inspiration. And I, you know, sometimes when I'm going through stuff, they watch me to see how I'm going to get through it, because I'm always telling them, you know, don't let this stress you. That's the last thing. This year, I am determined to not stress what I cannot control. God got everything else, and even like people ask me, am I scared to do this work? You know, I feel like can't no man do to me what God doesn't allow, and if He does allow it, then like that Daniel in the lion's den and like the 3 Hebrew boys in the furnace, He'll be there with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not bulletproof, and I don't do unnecessary stuff to just test that, but I do what necessary, you know. And there's things we can't control. There's things that I cannot control today, and I refuse to stress them. I'm not to ignore them, but I refuse to get stressed.
That's right.
And stress is one of the things that kept my blood pressure up. So, you know, so just all y'all praying people out there Sunday, pray for me. Just keep me in your prayers. That's all.
See, now y'all are introduced to AJ. You see how I did that?
So this is an intimate conversation, and I want y'all to feel comfortable because it's more of a conversation than an interview. That's the setting we try to create here. So I did interrupt. Go ahead, dog.
So what we want to do is that we talked about it before we came in. We're gonna just take like little breaks in between, and Bob is gonna call out the names of the individuals who were murdered in New Zealand the other day. So we gave him the list, and then as we go on with the show, he'll call out a couple of the names. So we're not going to talk about the person who did this horrific killing, but we're going to uplift those who were murdered the other day.
And can I just add, that is one of the things that made people be before politics, the force that has been the combination of me, Damon, and Cynthia for things like that. You know what I'm saying? And then Damon brings a whole nother aspect of it. And, you know, I've done this journalism thing for a little while. So, and then Dr. Bob has added another element to it. Lorraine has added another element, and all our co-hosts bring a different element. But those are the things that Cynthia, stuff like that, she brought to the show. And the show tries to continue to do some of that to that work. But, yes. So, go ahead, take it away, Sin, and let everybody. Can I get, first, can I get.
Before we start, he's gonna read the word.
Okay.
Because then that'll go into
right,
what
and
we
then
do,
after he does
who
that,
we
I
are.
just want to do, just again say who you are,
Yeah.
any organizations, anything that you know people need to know about you, who you are, so people are familiar with who you are more intimately. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was not here last week. I am unsure if the tragedy in New Zealand was mentioned at all.
I don't think we covered it much really, so I appreciate that.
But as everyone is at this point well aware, I think more than 50 people perished in a mass shooting in New Zealand. That is another warning sign of the rising tide of white supremacy that we see globally, also here in the United States, as evidenced in a number of recent attacks that have taken place on our soil as well. So we want to celebrate the lives of our anonymous our brothers and sisters from across the globe, and one of the first is Ada Elayan, who is 33 and left a wife and a young daughter. Syed Milne, who was 14, a 14-year-old young man who was a high school student. Shashid Suhad, 35, who left a wife and 2 daughters. Syed Janahandad, 34, who left a wife and 3 children. Haroon Mahmood, 40, left a wife and 2 children. Faraj Hassan, left a wife and 2 children. Mahabub Kathar, 65-year-old, who had been in the country of New Zealand for just about 2 months. Asif Vora, 58, who was killed with his son. Ramiz Vora, 28, Asif's son, who had just become a father himself days prior to being shot. And then finally, and we'll continue this at another point, Ansi Alabava, 25, who was married in 2018.
I'm gonna thank you for that, Cynthia, and I'm gonna edit the video to just him reading your intro and just him reading it. And if you can send me that electronically, I'm going to list what everything he's reading, and then share that as a separate post on Black Westchester.
Perfect.
Okay. Danielle.
Hi, good evening again. I'm Danielle Henry. I am the president of Westchester Alumnae Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am currently in my 3rd year as president of Westchester Alumnae Chapter. Our chapter has actually been in existence come October 31st of this year, 60 years, doing service here in the Westchester County community.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to stop you. I didn't know if you were finished. I just want. I was
We'll
giving you
continue. I just
applause.
wanted to give that.
I was giving the 60 years applause.
No, I appreciate that, but we'll continue because it's all going to be fluid. And
Okay.
there's a lot that will tie in, but
And pull your mic. The mics come closer.
Yep.
I want everybody to hear you.
yes. Okay.
Is this good?
That's good. That's good.
My name is Gina Jackson. I've been a member of this phenomenal organization for 16 years, and so proud of it, and joined this organization with my friend at the end over there, Cynthia Turnquest Jones. I know everyone knows her. Who doesn't know Turnquest? Very proud to be here. I'm very excited about here. It's so ironic because no one can see, but my friend over here is looking at a book that I was just talking about to
That's
a
a good
girlfriend
book.
of mine called Push Out. So I don't know if we should bring this in now. And I know we're going to talk about this later, but
Go for it.
can I just do this?
Sure.
Everyone,
good book.
this book is phenomenal. And if you, I also downloaded it in an Audible app. So
That's how I was able to
Can I-
read
can
it.
everyone
So it
see
is an audible.
Can you?
it is an
Yes,
Audible.
it's an Audible.
It is an
I'll
Audible.
post the
Wait,
information.
hold
about
on.
Push
Let
Out.
me see if I can get a bigger screen.
Yeah.
Or do you want to take it, AJ?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Can I take it?
Yeah, why don't we give it to you so everyone can clearly see?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here it is.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay.
AJ, you're showing off.
it's technological prowess.
I'm impressed, AJ. Cynthia said other things.
I'm sure she did. No.
They know I didn't.
But this, once you guys have a chance to really read this book, I'm very passionate for what she's talking about, and we're going to elaborate on this later. My tagline, if you will, and if anyone knows me, I've also experienced some tragedy in my life. So in doing so and trying to get over that, I believe that the past does not dictate your future. So everyone, as we continue to talk today, will elaborate that on more on that. So.
I also just wanted to add that I've been a Delta for 19 years.
Okay.
So
So the
Girl,
book that
I thought you was 19.
Wait, so I just want, I was, so I was
So the
saying,
book-
the
the
book
book
is
that I passed
available,
to-
you said
I
it is
passed it-
available
right, so-
on Audible?
Right.
Wait.
So I'll get down to the reason why I brought the book out. So you know, members of Delta Sigma Theta, we have a charge. There's certain things that we have to do. There is no other way around it, and you are held accountable of doing what you have to do. And so here go AJ, underneath there, right there.
Oh, I'm
And so,
I'm going to buy it right now on Audible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
If you have
Push Out
credit.
is about the criminalization of black girls in schools,
Right.
written by one of our sorority sisters, Monique W. Morris. Got to meet her. Where was I? In Washington, D.C. the other day.
UNDC Delta
When
Days
I was
in the
Da-
nation's
right.
capital. Yep.
So we had a flat-out class about the criminalization of our black girls in schools. And it was a very deep class because it's not just the criminalization of black girls in school, it's also the criminalization of black female educators in schools.
Wow.
Especially with you speaking out and speaking up. So we could start talking. I know
I just want to
I
show
know
it
your
real
head
quick.
is spinning right now, but we have this is March
I
Madness.
just brought it. I just wanted to show everybody.
Awesome. Awesome.
Look at that. This is March Madness, and March Madness is notoriously known for high number of students being arrested,
Yes.
high number of our students being suspended. And the thing is that black males exceed in the number of being suspended, but black females exceed all of the other males in numbers of being suspended.
Right. Yeah, that is correct.
You said black females exceed.
Exceed.
They
Yes.
exceed Latino males, they exceed white males, they exceed Asian males, any male that there is, they exceed them. So it's first the black male who exceeds with the number of being suspended from schools, and second behind them are black females.
I'm
Just
speechless.
processing.
Like
Everybody's processing right now.
I'm speechless. I have to share something that I learned. I was in a meeting this week, and I learned that. Do you know you can prosecute starting at the age of 7 years old?
No, I did not know that.
7 years old. 7-year-old child can be prosecuted. Is that not devastating? When you look at your daughter, you look at your niece, you look at your cousin or sister or whomever, they have the chance. If they act sassy and someone feels that they cannot discipline them well, if you will, they can say, you know what, I can't have them in my class, and they're being very disruptive, and the police can come in and they can be arrested
Wow.
at the age of 7 years old.
I've been hearing a lot of alarming stories lately. Again, I have no comment for that one. So.
Yeah, I have a comment. As it so happens, my doctoral dissertation was on the causes of Latino high school dropouts. The title was "Don't Push Me Over the Ledge" with no in parentheses. I'm a play on the well-known The Message, and the central message of my dissertation, following up on the research of others, consistent with Monique Morris's findings, is that the leading cause of failure to complete a high school degree today is not dropouts. And this is the reason why Ms. Morris uses the title push out. The word push out in the title of her book is because increasingly what we're finding is that schools are adopting more draconian policies and have criminalized what was previously understood to be simply social misbehavior. So one of the issues that, I looked out just following on scholars like Ms. Morris is the tendency for behaviors that we would have, recognized maybe as bad behavior, like playing dice or something when we were in school. When we were in school, in high school, people shot dice all the time. You didn't
In the
get
courtyard,
yeah, you might have got, something, a light slap on the wrist, but what did not happen were police were not called in
Exactly.
and formal
Exactly.
charges filed against you in a criminal court.
And I think what we're also in this day and age forgetting that these are kids.
These are
They're
babies.
still, they're
No,
still
they're
in they're
babies.
still in a
They're babies,
developmental
yes.
stage where they're still trying to determine between what right and wrong. So we're at a serious impasse here, and that's why, with my social action chair, Sin, at the end here, going as our representative for the chapter to Delta Days in the nation's capital and experiencing this, it ties into what we do even as an organization. We have a 5-point programmatic thrust: educational development, international awareness and involvement, political awareness and involvement, health, physical and mental health. So especially within educational, development, we have our mentoring groups that are focused on helping our young people,
Right.
girls and boys. We have our Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy, and we have our Jeannie L. Noble Delta Gems. Okay, and
Now, for those that don't know, who's Jeannie L. Noble?
she was actually a past president, national president
Okay.
of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She actually also resided here in New York.
Ah.
She was a professor
Okay,
at New York University
okay.
for an extended amount of time and passed away in the early 2000s.
Okay.
So it was very influential. GEMS is geared towards young ladies that are teenagers from 14 to 18 years old. And GEMS actually stands for Growing and Empowering Myself Successfully. And then with the Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy, as you all know, Dr. Shabazz, was also our sorority sister. She resided in Mount Vernon. She was all about education. And in this instance, it was really, we renamed the Delta Academy upon her death and acknowledging that important fundamental factor of really addressing certain issues with our young people, especially our young girls. As of, I believe it was 2011, 2012, we developed Embody.
That's for the boys.
That's for the boys. And Embody stands for Empowering Males to Build Opportunities for Developing Independence. And this was created under one of our past national presidents, Cynthia Marie Antoinette Butler McIntyre, who resides in Louisiana. She's from New Orleans. And when it was developed, especially it was developed in the whole beginning stages of the Black Lives Matter movement. We had the situation with Trayvon Martin. Our young boys were being killed.
And still are.
And still are.
Still are.
And, they still are. And yes, we have My Brother's Keeper. We have fraternities, which are essential. These type of male empowerment programs are essential. But we saw it fit and deemed fit to also include ourselves into the process as well. You need both aspects, a female and a male component to really help develop our children.
And I just want, while I applaud you for all that work, and what I just want to, and Damon does this a lot, is a shout to my black men. A lot of times the women are putting in this work, and a lot of times the men are noticeably absent. And it's not to say that the women can't handle it,
Right.
but they shouldn't have to handle it. The black man needs to step up and that's being said by me, and it's something we say a lot. We need to step up as black men. There's too many of them that are not involved. The only reason I'm not dead or in jail is because of some black men who got at me. Because I was a knucklehead in Mount Vernon, at that age too, a rebel without a pause or a cause. And, I could not be here doing this work. Many of the people that I used to hang out with did double-digit prison sentences, and
Right.
many of them died for whatever reason and didn't get to see 40, much less 50. I just turned 53. So you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to say that about the black men. I applaud my sisters for the work that y'all and all the sisters for the work y'all do on Women's Month. But I think it's important that we as black men call out our black men and say we need to be more. There's some out there. There's not enough. We
Well, I
need
have
to
to
be
give a
more
shout
present. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have to give a shout
Put
out
up to the mic.
I'm sorry. I have to give a shout out to Sigma Beta
Okay.
fraternity. They have a phenomenal mentoring program. Shout out to John Campbell. Shout out to Dave Van Dyve and all the rest of you great brothers. And the reason I'm shouting out, my son is a part of their mentoring group, and it has been a blessing that he has been part of this group because you can see his maturity.
Right.
And it's great. And not only
The cap.
you didn't even let
Cap-
me get it. You beat me to the punch. I was
I
gonna go
gotta,
there.
I
You
gotta
have
give
to,
a shout
yes.
out to the men of Kappa Alpha
Yes.
Psi Fraternity Incorporated,
Absolutely.
New Rochelle White Plains chapter, doing a phenomenal job with their Kappa League. I actually attended their installation of inducting new members into the Kappa League back in January. They had about, I believe, 83 young boys, age 9, I believe, all the way up to 17. That they're really nurturing from that young age and continuing the journey. And so I want to give my fellow president there, Pierre Oscar, a huge shout out to him.
I follow
Yeah.
him. I see the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our journey is of service,
Right.
right? And when we see a problem, then we not necessarily can fix it, but it's with the hopes that we can fix it, and at least put a dent in it.
Right.
Earlier this week, we donated $1,200 worth of cereal to West Help in Mount Vernon. And we got a chance to walk around the facility. And so then that gives us an opportunity to find out more about homelessness. So the young lady said that they used to stay in the shelter for like 6 months. She said, no, it's increased now. It's extended to maybe a year and a half because of the amount of rent. Section
Yes.
8 doesn't cover that
That's right.
in Westchester County in particular. And so these individuals are now waiting to move to places like New Jersey and Connecticut. But they can't transfer their money over to Connecticut. They have to
can't do
open
state
up
to
a
state. They have
right.
to open a whole
No,
new
case,
file.
yes.
That's correct.
They have to open up a whole new file. But there at the shelter, I got a chance to walk into the room. We walked around in the room, and I asked a lot of questions. Each of them have a kitchen there so they can cook. She said people give from Thanksgiving to Christmas,
But if
and then after that
you don't hear from
it goes begging individuals to come in and give to these families. There's 45 women and 100 children in this one facility. And so when us as Deltas find information out like that, then the charge is to make it better.
Yeah, I wanna add to that with what Sin is saying. From a Grand Chapter national perspective for our organization, we do have resolutions, especially for social action. We have very specific resolutions that come out biannually upon the conclusion of our national convention that we have. Some of the points are about gun violence, mass incarceration, well-being of our people in communities. And then you siphon that down a little bit further and focus. You silo it down further. So in this instance, with us as Westchester Alumnae Chapter, we do our own assessment, like grabbing information research from the United Way They usually do like a biannual report as to what is the high level need within the Westchester County area. One is housing. So we're in a housing crisis, which ties into one of our thrusts, which is economic development, and providing programs and workshops for members of the community to attend to understand that. Two is education. Certain municipalities in the area in Westchester County have a literacy issue, especially in northern Westchester. So we try our best.
Northern Westchester.
Yes.
You would think southern Westchester. See, it's one
Grab
of those
that
things
report. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I have to give credit where credit is due with the United Way. They release this report biannually, and they break it down by municipality, and we utilize that as a base to create the programs that we do on a monthly basis and a yearly basis each year. So with what Sin is like pointing out and calling out here is certain things that she has done as our social action chair that ties into what we're about with our programmatic thrusts and how it aligns with what we need to do. So we have a homelessness issue.
Wait,
here.
thank you.
Yeah.
So you beat me to it because I was going to ask you
Yep.
to give me that information. What can they do
I did
if
it,
they want to donate to West Help? You shared
Yep.
it already.
So
Go
if you
ahead.
want to donate to West Help is located on 240 Franklin Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. Give a call to 914-655-5404, and the young lady there will definitely assist you and let you know exactly what is needed. There are also men there.
Yes.
I did not ask how many men were there, but there are also men there. If they're a part of the family, there are men there. When she said that some people would show up and be like, "It's my birthday today, and I would like to give pizza to everybody in here." And we'll just come in with a slew of pizza and something to drink and celebrate their birthday
Just a little-
at the homeless shelter.
I just want to. I'm sorry. I want to put out a plea to everyone who can hear my voice, to the People Before Politics listeners. You have the information. If you have the means, try to go down and help and assist. Find out what they need, because there may be things that you can, different needs that they have, and go down and make the call. And whatever you can feel comfortable by giving. It takes all of us, and we all need to get involved.
Payless is going out of business.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Little things.
Just go pick it up.
Because you have that shelter in Mount Vernon. There's Jan Peak House in Peekskill. They always have a constant request and need for toiletries, for clothing. We actually do an annual program with them every February. But this year they had they had an equal balance of women there. But it depends upon where an individual lives in regards to the population that's being served as of right now. But that particular location, Jan Peak, has a lot of men. It has a lot of men, and yes, as an organization, we are out there and we're going to provide the service. But for those that want to see as to how they could help their community, that's one place. And then of course the shelter we were just at and doing what Sin called the cereal dash.
Oh yes. And we had Fruit Loops
And oatmeal.
Apple Jacks. I love Apple Jacks.
My kind of cereal.
But that's
So I just want to say also, like for those in Mount Vernon and the surrounding area, but for other areas, like you said, Peekskill, I mean, look up the ones in your area. Like Yonkers has several, I understand. You know what I mean? So there's other ones that they all individually need help. And I just want to, we had a homelessness advocate come on and 2 years ago. She educated the audience of the growing need of working homeless. I did not know that this was a thing.
Yes.
Families, both parents have jobs, the kids go to school every day, but they still can't afford, like you said, the rent being too high. They don't have a place to live, and they're in shelters.
Yes.
But they still go to work every day.
That's correct.
They
Yeah.
kids still go to school
Yes.
and maintain good grades and everything.
Yes.
But they don't have a home.
Yes.
And there's a growing in Westchester County, one of the richest counties in the world, not just not just the state, but the world,
That's
the
correct.
country. They don't act like there's homelessness or poverty, and we're going to keep putting that in their face. So every time I get a chance to talk about the working homeless, I throw that out there. Just
And it's
we're going to keep
increasing.
stuff like, and it's increasing,
Yes.
and we're going to keep throwing that out there. We're going to keep that. We're not going to let them put that shove that under the rug like
Right.
what they try to do.
And you know what? As an educator for 22 years, I've met students who have told me that they have resided in a nursing home. Sorry, not the nursing home, in a shelter from birth, and they were 18 years old. They said, I've been in the shelter all my life, and I was
Wow.
flabbergasted. Like, what? They said, all my life I've been in the shelter, Miss TJ. And so this crisis is not going away. And if you go to other places, like when I was in California the other day, it's madness in California.
Oh, especially Oakland.
There and Portland, Oregon. It's really bad. The homeless issue is.
But these are the things they don't talk about. These are the things they don't want to talk about.
No.
These are the things our elected officials don't talk about. We need to push back. And while we're not dealing with the election, every person that is running for an election, this is stuff that should be asked of them. What are they going to do if elected in these areas? So I just, you know.
Of course.
Blessings, everyone, from Lioness Felicia.
Felicia Barnes.
Yes.
Another thing. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I just took a
Uh-oh.
quick look at the Census Bureau statistics regarding
This is I told you this is our research.
I like numbers too, so let's
So,
go.
yeah, and the 2017 five-year American Community Survey, it's the most recent survey,
That's correct.
indicates that I think 21.5% of the Westchester County population makes below $35,000 or less,
Yes.
which we don't need to remind everyone that it's going to be extremely difficult for people who live in one of the most expensive housing markets in the city, in the nation, to find a decent, stable place to live if they're only making $35,000. Right after taxes, that's
nothing.
yeah, that's
Don't try to
oof.
calculate it. It's
Yeah,
nothing.
it's nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Like you
It's
can't-
nothing. If you bring home, let's say maybe 8,000 of that, right, out of 35, that means you're bringing home about 27.
Yes, that's correct.
And if you're paying like 1,200, which is a low ball for rent, it's probably
Very
like
low.
Very
If you have a
15,
family,
17.
Yeah, if you have a
You're
family, you're
always-
paying closer to
You're always
2.
behind,
Yes.
pretty much. You're always about a month or two behind.
Yeah.
Right, and it's becoming impossible, and unfortunately, given the direction that the housing policy is taking in Westchester, many of us are concerned that these very communities are getting ready to undergo serious sweeping gentrification that may only cause the problem to worsen. So I applaud the sisters of the Deltas and all the other
Yeah.
advocacy groups out here that
Yeah,
are,
definitely.
sororities that are doing the work.
And you know, with that said, we just want to lead into an event that we're getting ready to have.
Yes.
That we're sponsoring December 8th.
So
Is-
April 8th.
Oh,
April
yeah.
8th.
You already in the winter?
You already?
Before,
Did you see that?
Yeah, before we do that,
December.
can I get some more names read? And then we
Let's
get
do it.
into
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
do the names. Let's
Am
go,
I
Dr.
reading it?
Bob.
Yes.
I don't have my glasses.
Oh, you don't have it?
I don't have the glasses.
I don't have my.
You want Bob to read it?
No, yeah, because I need to
Is
get
you
my
gonna,
Jackson,
ask
you
Bob
need-
for his glasses?
Let me tell you something.
I don't know. That much. Listen,
We're not
she
gonna-
feel
we're
like
not
she's
gonna
looking
talk
at
about
a
it. Go ahead.
telescope or something. She looking
After
at
number
my
10.
glasses.
After 10.
Number 10. Number 10. Ansi Alibaba, 25. She was married in 2018. Ozar Kadir, 25, was training to be a pilot. Salwa Marwan Mohammed was 43 years old. Hunsa Ahmad, 47, pulled her husband to safety and went back to help others. That is when she met the gunman who shot her. Naeem Rashid tried to tackle the killer and was killed with his son. Arib Ahmed, 27, his smile, dedication, and humor will be missed. Talha Naheem, 21, Naheem's son, who was also killed. Amjad Hamid was described a caring cardiologist who was described by his patients as a hard-working doctor who was deeply committed to his patients. Jamel Darwish, 38, a farmer, described as a caring, honest, and loving person. Linda Armstrong, 64, was always working to help others, and volunteered at a refugee center.
Wow.
And Cynthia, for those who just tuned in and may not have been here in the beginning, when you said that, what is it that we're doing? What is the purpose of reading these names?
The purpose of reading these names is to make sure that we uplift those who were fatally killed in New Zealand, and we are not mentioning the person who did this horrific atrocity that they experienced there.
Okay. So throughout the show, we're going to be reading out the names
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
whose lives were lost at the hand of this senseless
And-
violence.
So we're hosting an event April 8th, right? And it came out of, now this is gonna be crazy, right? So it came out of us having a conversation, a deep conversation, and us as members of Delta Sigma Theta having to go to classes in regards to sex trafficking among our black teenage girls and the heighten of it. And so the event came to be because a book was written by Mashonda, who is the ex-wife of Swiss Beats, and the title of the book is called Blend. And it's like, what do you do when your healthy family experiences a crisis?
Yeah.
And so the event that we're going to have on April 8th is going to be at Iona College, and it's hosted by Dr. T. Alexander, Dr. Tracy T. Alexander, who is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. You like how I said that?
Who has been on the show.
Who's been on the show?
And his cousin of mine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cousin of AJ, yeah. Don't you like that? Isn't that nice?
Yes, it is.
keep it in the family.
Keep it in the family.
Keep it in the family. That's what we gotta do. Wow.
Yo, Bob wanna know why you holding back.
Well, he was here when we said that.
Uh-oh.
She came here. We was like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
She came with Sister to Sister for their event.
Oh,
Okay.
when they did
She came with Cheryl. Yes.
Cheryl.
when DJ when what's her name? Beverly Bond for Black Girls Rock.
Okay.
When Beverly Bond for Black Girls Rock was at Iona College. So it's $35. Oh, Hill Harper is also going to be along,
Yes.
right? He's going to also be in the house, and the tickets are $35.
I want to meet him.
Yeah.
I've when he was first coming up, like, you know, in the small movie roles, and I was doing, you know, press for, I interviewed him a few times, but then he's soared since
Right.
then, and he's been out of my my reach. So I have not. I would just love to speak to him now, like, you know.
Yeah, so come on through.
Yeah.
But we'll also be discussing of, you know, how do you get through this crisis? You know, sex trafficking is prominent in the suburbs.
That's correct.
Let me say it one more time. Sex trafficking is prominent in suburbs. You have no idea as to what your neighbor is doing in their basement.
Absolutely.
I'm curious now though.
Yeah.
And
What
so
is
that's
going
what
on?
happened to me. So I went up to Albany.
When you were in Albany,
I went
Delta
to Albany.
Days at the state
Delta Days
capitol.
at the state capitol.
Yep.
And I took a bus ride. I drove out to Harlem, hopped on the bus at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and sailed up to Albany and sat next to another sorority sister who told me about her daughter being caught up in sex trafficking. She said, the first thing that she said to me was, "It's your neighbor." I listened the entire time. She said the police didn't help her. ACS didn't help her. The courts didn't help her. She had to go out there and fight it on her own. And the girls are recruiting their friends.
Yeah.
So how did you get that fly bag, sis? Oh, I know somebody who can get it for you.
open it.
Better.
Right? I know somebody that can get it for you.
So that's why we developed State of the Family.
That's
State
right.
of the Family Summit, which will be on April 8th. These are things that we as a community need to address, and also be comfortable in addressing it. I think in previous years, for a long time, these type of issues have been very taboo. As an organization, we want to provide the outlet to start the conversation, at least. So, we're
And
doing
you
it.
know, like she said, taboo, and things are said such as, oh, they're just fast girls.
Can you send me the flyer? I was scrolling through your pictures. I'm tired of scrolling through your pictures. You have too many pictures.
Come on, man. I went
You
through
have
it
entirely
myself.
too. You have
We-
entirely
I
too many
went- I
pictures.
went through it
We
myself.
have
I
a
couldn't find it.
Facebook page. We also have
What
our.
is the Facebook page?
It is the Westchester Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and under events, we have all of our events thus far that we will be doing, and that in particular is the one that's for April 8th.
You see that, AJ?
Mm-hmm.
I just pulled something up online, although this is actually almost 2 years ago. More than 40% of sex trafficking victims are black, according to the annual Black Report. More than 40%. So if I look to my right, or my left and my right, and I look at my sisters, and I think about my nieces, and I think about all my friends' children, again, this topic continues to leave me speechless. I remember I did a program at Hawthorne Cedar Knolls, and I met a few young women who was part of this unfortunate. I don't even know how to describe it because it's just sickening to me. And when their time was coming up to go back into population, if you will, they were afraid.
They didn't know what to do.
They were afraid.
It's I guess it's
They're-
similar to the whole prisoner
Exactly.
mentality when
Exactly.
you're coming out of prison and acclimating again.
Say the Facebook page again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. We are on Facebook. We are the Westchester Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta.
So, you know, one of the things that we were taught in class was the fact that police officers, guidance counselors, social workers, teachers, mom and dad, that we need more training on how to identify this, and then training on how to get them acclimated back into society. Because they were charging the girls who were caught up in sex trafficking as prostitutes.
Right.
You get charged as a prostitute at the age of 16, right?
Right. That's a serious felony crime. I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we're changing that, right? So now the fight is to change that for girls who are caught up in sex trafficking and not get charged as prostitutes. Another thing that's coming down the pipe is where there's individuals that they want to legalize prostitution.
Mhm.
Now I don't know.
You don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Cardi B would say, but
I don't think she'd agree to that. I think she's hopefully.
is it a job?
No, it's.
If,
they feel
well,
it's-
I mean, I have
Certain
a view on
states
the
have
matter.
it passed. As
you have a
know.
view?
I have a view on the matter.
Okay, so
absolutely.
talk about it then.
I mean, this is a debate that has been especially prominent in the feminist community. Whether or not a woman's control over her body should also entail freedom to engage in market relationships in exchange for sex, if she so desires. Now, you know, if you subscribe to traditional liberalism, it says that we should be free to do anything that does not have a negative impact on the broader community. And it's arguable that there are no material harms that are done to the broader community when two people engage in sex in the privacy of their own home, even if it's in exchange for money. Unfortunately, many critics would also point out that relationships that many of us are involved in often entail the exchange of money as well. There is no long-term lasting relationship in which men and women are not giving one another financial support, and you better believe some relationships are going to dissolve if either party does not live up, fulfill their end of the financial bargain. Having said that, my own feeling is this, is that what we need to focus on is eliminating the kind of economic duress that often necessitates that women fall back on their bodies. If we look at as a way of providing for a livelihood, if we look at the economic conditions across the nation and in Westchester in particular, we find that there are very high rates of unemployment, underemployment, and low wage compensation for women, especially women who find themselves concentrated in the low-paying service sector. Healthcare workers, service workers in our retail stores, many of the kinds of jobs that economic development programs that are being advocated by our leaders are going to create. No one should be upholding the creation of a box retail store today, because those jobs do not pay people enough money, especially as it now becomes the main source of employment for people. So I would say that if we really want to, what we need to focus our attention on is eliminating the need for anyone to resort to illicit activities in order to provide, whether it be the sale of one's body, or the sale of drugs or other kinds of activities that men predominantly get involved in. Moreover, what I do think we need to adopt is a very rigorous kind of enforcement program that does not criminalize women, because too often what is happening is the onus for sex crimes are falling on the shoulders of women, and too often allowing their male counterparts to go scot-free. I mean, it's interesting that Robert, what's his name?
Robert Kraft.
From the Kraft, from New England, it was, there's plenty of evidence to indicate that the man, paid a prostitute, and yet it's from the news stories that we hear he may well go off scot-free, and we are left to wonder.
Just plead guilty
because you're a rich
They
guy.
said, why? He has money, and he's not married, so why should it matter?
Even those who don't have money though, I used to be a social worker, and in family court there were a lot of females that were in there who were raped by someone in their family, and I don't want to say never, but I hardly saw any of them go to jail.
Right.
Hardly ever. And then if you go to jail and you go to the prisons and you sit with the women, the majority of them in there for like prostitution.
I want to say, I
Sex
want to
trafficking.
add the shame with that is, I know several sisters who have been raped or by someone in the household,
Right.
and it was the mother's boyfriend or the mother's new husband, and the mother was in denial when she heard it. And one of the things that said, "You're just trying to ruin my relationship." And they took the man's side over their daughters. And I've seen the what the effect had on them as adults. They don't have their ability to have a real relationship and to really trust anything good in their life. Like, I'm not saying all, but I've seen some firsthand that this, being promiscuous and is one of the results of that, being extra promiscuous, including girl on girl. And ending up the life of adult entertainer.
I mean,
and because in Atlanta, for real, there are people. They have good houses. There are women. They got good houses. They got good cars. Their kids go to private school because they make a good living as strippers. They pay taxes. Like they make good living as a stripper. Like,
they're getting glorified in the rap music. So
but I mean, and then all the athletes come there, and all the events come there, and they make, not everyone, because there's some busted ones that don't make no money, but I mean, there's some that that literally they are living better than I am, and some of the people in this room maybe from stripping.
And they said that one of the things that one of Soros said that because they were in, where was the last Super Bowl?
Atlanta.
Yeah. They said that
the last week
they
turned to
said they
Freaknik.
arrested, they had band loads of bringing in young girls to Atlanta for the Super Bowl. Band loads.
Anything that happens in Atlanta of that nature towards the end has the nature of a Freaknik kind of act activity towards the end. The atmosphere is the word I'm looking for.
Right.
Even when I went to Morehouse homecoming, the end, one of the end at the event, the big outdoor event, towards the end with all the alcohol going, it started transforming into that atmosphere of the Freaknik kind of atmosphere.
Yeah. I had to pull this up because my sister had sent this to me on Facebook. Crystal Kaiser facing life in prison after killing a man who made I can't even say pornography and raped her repeatedly. She's going to life. She's facing life because she killed the person who was hurting her and who was raping her.
And a lot of
That happened
times
to Centonia, right?
she reached out to someone.
Centonia Brown.
Centonia Brown. So
Centonia
you think about
Brown.
Centonia Brown. Let's, you know,
A lot of times they reach out to someone, they're not believed, the authorities don't do anything, and they're left in, they can't do nothing until something happens.
Right.
But something happens, meaning they can
Right.
be dead.
They can-
So they're
exactly.
left
Yeah.
in a situation where it's me or them, and now this person
Right.
who's been the victim is victimized a second time
Mhm. Right.
by the justice system.
And the
that's a
crazy
problem.
thing, and that's and I like how you put that. The crazy thing is that individuals who work on exonerating individuals, they said it takes us like 10, 20 years to get somebody exonerated. Because you normally hear this person did 20 years, right, for a crime and sat there, and it took 20 years before they were set free.
Right.
They said it takes a long time before they set anybody free.
I wanted to, before we get too far and the time runs out or anything, we have plenty of time. Now, I'm not recruiting for y'all because I said my daughter is another fraternity, a sorority. But for people that
We all
want to know
sisters
more,
though. We all
Yeah,
sisters.
we all have the same.
We all
right.
sisters.
Yeah.
but my for someone who's listening, some young woman who wants to be involved, who wants to know more about the Delters, website, Facebook, social media, how can they find out
Yeah.
more about you or reach out to
So-
any of y'all individually or whatever? Yeah.
So, if you want to inquire more and learn more about Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, of course, we have a book that was written and published about a little close to 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, by Paula
Not taking no calls right now. Go ahead.
Paula Giddings, In Search of Sisterhood. We have a book. It's called In Search of Sisterhood by Paula Giddings, Giddings. Delta Sigma Theta, DeltaSigmaTheta.org, our national website, has information about membership. And then, of course, if you reside in the Westchester County area, our website, dstwac.org. I usually receive the inquiries, president@dstwac.org, and also all of our social media platforms. As I stated, we are on Facebook, the Westchester Alumnae Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We also have a Instagram page. It's at DSTWAC, and Twitter, which is a Westchester Deltas, if I remember correctly. But we're there. And I just encourage people to get the book if they can. Check out the national website, which offers more information. If you reside here in the New York area, New York metropolitan area, the Schomburg Center.
Okay.
Back in the day before the internet and everything, if you were interested in an organization and you were here in the New York area, that's where you went.
Right.
There's a lot of archival information of all of the Divine Nine organizations there at the Schomburg. And then, doing your research and coming out to the programs. We do these programs to really address the issues that are affecting our area, which is Westchester County. And of course, we do collaborations with our other sister chapters in the New York metropolitan area. So there are other alumni chapters for Delta within New York Metro.
Right.
In total, there are like 12 graduate chapters.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say real quick. Nesta Felix said, "Hello, Delta." She said, "I applaud you, and I'm so excited about your mission."
What's up, Ness?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Coach.
Shout out to Coach Nesta, who all the work she
Oh
does,
man,
and for honoring me at her award show.
very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, Ness
Congratulations.
has a program. So last year, I was asked to host they had a pageant,
Nice.
right?
Nice.
Oh, my feet was killing.
I told you no way.
But let me tell you, it was exciting to be back there with those girls. I'm going to be there again with them. And I'll invite the sisters to come out and hang out with them on the Sunday with pearls. She had all those little girls in church that day, and they all had on their pearls and hats and gloves. It was just amazing.
Oh,
Hey,
gosh.
AJ and I were there at the last ball
yes.
pageant, and yeah, we even supported financially.
No, but you guys were at where was I at?
It was the thing
We've
at the
been
Dole
to
Center.
A couple
I
of the.
was there.
You
Yeah.
was the host.
Caitlin, I know Caitlin was
you-
there
you
as
were-
well.
you were-
I do remember.
you
You,
and Caitlin were the
my
hosts.
sister.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we were
Help my
there.
sister.
Wait,
You didn't- you want me to
it's
tell
not
what-
eight, It's not past 8 o'clock.
It's not
Okay.
yeah,
eight.
we
She shuts down.
we didn't get
Yes.
any awards in
Can't
that show.
remember this stuff.
I was had on a tux and everything. I was flying. I was standing up, waving my hand, but
Those little
Y'all
girls
call
were
me
so excited. And
Actually,
that,
it was great.
it was. And that little
Yes.
girl looked at me because I was in the back with the mic in the back and sitting with them on the floor and everything. And that little girl looked at me and she said, "I'm so afraid of losing."
Oh no.
And I said, "No, you are a winner." She said, "How?" I said, "'Cause you're here."
Absolutely.
Right? I said, "Count how many are here. Look how many didn't show up." And then she just looked at me. But man, when she lost, she cried something terrible. I was like, just give a crown to everybody, Nesta. Just give everybody a crown.
Everybody gets something. right?
What month was that at the Dole Center? What month?
I think it's gonna the next. I have the date.
They
I
have
have the
one
date
coming up.
for it. But she has one coming up, and she inboxed me like when Nesta asks you to do something,
You
you
can't say no.
because she's
Yeah, because
always doing it for. It's
we
always
were on
for
our
the
way to an
children.
event in the city, a play or something,
right.
and we
Something
ended up
happened.
turning around and coming back and covering that event, covering the hair show or something, one of the other events she did.
One of the events.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
We were upstairs talking to some of the honorees. I remember.
yeah.
I wanted to ask, so in terms of the pathway for membership into the Deltas,
That's what I was going to
yeah, my impression is that Deltas largely recruit amongst college graduates, and I wanted to know, could you clarify for the audience what
We
exactly
don't
is
recruit.
Right.
Okay.
Not recruit.
We do not recruit. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded by 22 college women on the campus of Howard University on January 13th, 1913. So we have undergraduate chapters, college-based, or be it citywide or core-based. Citywide chapter is usually a chapter that usually schools that comprise in the area to have one chapter, and then of course campus-based, which is on campuses. We actually have over 1,000 chapters as an organization, and have duly initiated over 300,000 members in our 106-year existence. We have undergraduate chapters, as I said, and we also have graduate chapters. Graduate chapters are comprised of those that graduate out of college, want to continue service. We also do the whole membership intake process for those that would like to become a member at the graduate level. So you can join an alumni chapter, but the core and really pursuing, and I think for us as an organization, we attract a lot of go-getters,
Phenomenal woman.
innovators, really visionary people, and very highly public service-minded
Somebody trying to call
individuals.
you. Don't come in.
So I always say this, and Sin always hears me say it, and I even say it on my social media. We are change agents. We are agents of change. And that is something that we really focus on. Not only, we do this, it's volunteer.
Right.
We're not getting paid to do this.
Sure.
We are doing this for the love of not only our organization, but for our people. So like one of the phrases in our mission is about, the improvement of the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's just not just the Black community. It's for those that are the disadvantaged,
Mm-hmm.
the disenfranchised. So if you're interested in wanting to be a member, this is why I stress that people do their research, because each organization is different.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 other sororities, African American based sororities were founded by African American women
Mhm.
that are in existence. Us, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho. We all have the platform of sisterhood, the core, scholarship, and of course service. So
Right.
you just got to make sure what's right for you.
We have a caller. Caller, can you hear me? Welcome to People Before Politics. Please state your name and purpose for calling.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Yogi Taylor.
Say your,
And
na-
I
say your
believe
name a little bit louder. We just barely can hear you.
Sure. I apologize. I'm in the car. My name is Natalie Yogi Taylor. I'm a friend of Miss Cynthia's.
Hey, how you
And
doing?
Hi, honey. How are you?
Member of Jack and Jill across
Yes,
the
ma'am.
bridge.
Rockland Army chapter.
She knows Tony Earl Jr. very well also.
Shout out to Tony
Yeah.
Earl.
I do know Mr. Earl. So I was calling because on April 13th, I have an amazing program that's happening in the Hudson Valley by the name of Girls in Politics. And I wanted to get the word out because the whole purpose is to empower young girls, but especially young girls of color, to understand how the political process works around them, how to not only politics, but how to advocate, galvanize, etc. And so we're looking for young girls from middle school, 4th grade up to 8th grade. And I know that the Delta chapter in Westchester County has been doing some amazing work, and I wanted to basically reach out and see if they would be willing to come out and support the initiative, but also share it with their network. And there's amazing opportunities to sponsor young women that not necessarily are able to financially afford the program. So whatever the organization or the community is willing to do, we would love to have them join the partnership.
Nat, how did you what made you guys do Girls in Politics? I've been staring at Girls in Politics for a while. Bob just brought it up on the screen, and I've been staring at that for a while. What made you guys do Girls in Politics?
Bob?
Well, honestly, it's actually what made me do it. It's not an affiliation with any organization. I'm doing this alone.
Oh.
What made me interested is just because I ran for school board here in Nyack in Rockland County, and it was an untapped world for me. Even though I'm very active in my own kids' school education, the know-how of doing just basic campaigning, how much money you need to raise, things that you don't even think about that you need to know to actually run a successful campaign. I was running against an incumbent, and so I obviously had some work already put in, but it's a lot of information that I feel that we as people of color don't know. So it's like we shouldn't be waiting until you're in that position. We should be educating each other, especially our children, how to do those things.
Wow.
So that's what really made me want to do this
That
for
is
the
interesting.
younger generation.
Okay.
If anything, this is Danielle Henry. If you can email me at
Sure.
president@dstwac.org.
Okay.
Okay, and if you could just provide some information, so we could even just share it with our mentoring groups, and then just collectively our executive board and have a discussion about it. But I just have to say that you bring up a valid point, because this is something that outside of Delta I focus on about civics.
Right.
We talk about the lack of civics in
The
schools
lack
and stuff. We talk
of
about
civics.
that constantly on the show.
it amazes me, especially this past election cycle period, and Sin was witness to it, of me having to educate folk about different committees, legislative branches, our governmental branches, and how they're all connected, and not to just focus on federal, national platform government, but also look at on a local level as well. They're all connected, all of them. And especially for our community, not a lot of people want to be engaged with the political game, because politics is a game. And just being able to navigate through it and educate yourself on it. But we have to do it in a way that's very layman terms.
Absolutely.
Because, you can't explain these things where it goes over people's heads.
Right.
So I think it's awesome that she's starting at the young age.
And Nat, where is it going to be? It's going to be in Westchester?
It'll be at the Westchester Marriott in Terrytown.
All right.
So it's right. So it's literally, to me, the closest to both counties.
Okay.
Can you also send us the information at blackwestchester@gmail.com?
Absolutely. So you hit some some points that I was, near and dear. Civic education is not taught in schools, not anymore anyway.
No, it's not.
Right.
And but it's more than that. We're talking about layman terms. It's like, we look at kids, and most kids actually even know more than their parents know.
Right.
Yes.
That's parents can't teach it if they
No.
don't know it.
Right?
Right.
No, they don't.
No.
Right.
No.
So I think we owe our kids and the future generation that much. It's like this is our civic duty to empower and to get them engaged so that they understand not necessarily only the political component, but advocacy.
Yes.
Galvanizing, organizing. Standing up for what you believe in, regardless if you're standing alone. Those are the things that are important. And I think our kids need to understand that those basic, fundamental, those basic fundamental information, so that they understand that there's gonna come a point in their lives that they're gonna be standing there by themselves, and
Right.
they need to know that they're supported and they're not alone, even though it seems that they could potentially look like they're alone. If that makes sense. If I'm making sense.
Hey Nat, Natalie sent her sister and her niece to Let Girls Learn Day in Mount Vernon last year. Her sister was down with Let Girls Learn Day. What country was she in?
Morocco.
So we're talking like some really deepness that's going on here.
Right.
And deep thinking that is brought to life.
Right.
And so once you make sure that you email Danielle, make sure you email AJ as well. And I have the information, and definitely we want to be a part of this.
Perfect. That makes me so happy to know that it's not just a Rockland initiative. It's really all of our initiatives. We need to make sure our kids are at the table so they can be served. So I appreciate you, Deltas, and thank you, Mr. AJ, for allowing me to get on the air to share this information. And you guys continue what you were doing. I'm excited about this program. Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing, because I didn't even know this existed.
Wait, when is the event again?
April 13th.
April
Saturday,
13th.
April 13th.
Okay.
It's all day. It's from 8. The registration opens at 8:30, and they'll be there until 4:30. Lunch and everything will be provided for every young girl.
I would like to extend an invitation for you to come on the show at some point to explain what your organization does and the importance of it and the importance of civics, especially with our students. I think that's a conversation we need to have as we go into an escalated election season. Now that things have been moved up from September to June.
Yes.
Yes.
More people, a lot of these politicians nationally and locally depend on the black and brown communities being underinformed and uninformed or misinformed.
That's correct.
And we have to get to the youth. We have to get, the civics and all that is very important, so we promote that. So I would like to extend an invitation. Again, you go to blackwestchester.com, all our contact information is on there. You just click
Well,
contact.
thank you.
Reach out to us, and we'll try to schedule something to get you and your some people from your organization on, and we can have a whole conversation about
Oh, yeah,
civics,
definitely.
the importance of civics,
Danny can come
what
back
your
and
organization
talk about
does,
that all night.
and you
I
definitely
could
welcome to
talk
come.
You're
about
going
that.
live.
You're definitely welcome to come on that day too, as well. So, thank you very much for your phone call.
Natalie,
And-
I'll make sure I'll come and cover it for Black Westchester.
Well, perfect. We will
Yeah,
definitely do that. I appreciate
definitely.
you guys, and thank you very much, beautiful people.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And before I forget, so I finally found it. I couldn't find it.
I see it.
This is
The Flex Youth Princess
New
Pageant.
Flex. Yeah, the word New Flex.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
I
I
remember
couldn't.
when
But
that
I
was
couldn't.
Who's that?
on
Who's
last
that
year.
right there?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
It didn't. It wasn't on the website. It was only in the paper.
It's a wonderful
So I had to
confidence
find.
booster.
I had to find the actual article, the actual paper, and then it's like it blew it up real quick. And
It was
Yes.
it was just such an amazing experience. Such an amazing experience. And this is the thing in regards to starting out. We started out with Push Out, the criminalization of black girls in schools, and the programs that are needed for our girls to interrupt what is going on, to interrupt sex trafficking, to interrupt the high number of our girls who are getting pregnant and things of that nature.
I just wanted to, and real quick, just to shot this in. This was her whole page. All of these articles were hers.
Remember we did Betty Before Bass?
Yes,
Betty.
we did do that last
Yeah.
June.
So that
That's
was
that's the deltas right there. Betty
yeah, Betty Before X.
Yeah.
Sin's World. That's what I call it.
Do
She
it.
does- she give me- so that was her. That was her page in the July 2018 edition of Black Westchester. You can find all the previous issues on blackwestchester.com. Go to the tab that says BW Newspaper, and you can pull up all the previous issues.
Yeah, the Betty Before X was actually hosted by our Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy, our young ladies, and the committee that oversees that mentoring component did that program. And we had Ilyasa Shabazz there talking about Betty Before X, that latest book, and her previous publishings as well.
Yeah. Oh, side note, Schoenberg is from Puerto Rico.
Yes, he is.
I didn't know that.
Arturo.
Guess how I learned? By reading a child's book.
Oh, okay.
I hang out in the library at work. I looked at I said, Schoenberg, let me read this book.
One of,
Yeah, you would have thought
Wow.
that's.
one of the one of the first
Yeah.
articles Cynthia ever wrote when we first started Black Westchester as an online news magazine was a summer reading list for the youth.
Oh, nice.
And-
So she's
I-
been posting, promoting literacy since we've been, longer than that. But for us, she gives the reading list for the summer for the kids and stuff like that. Go ahead.
I wanted to add also, it's important for everyone to note that Arturo Schoenberg is really a amateur bibliophile. He is not a professional scholar, and yet it speaks to the capability
Yes.
of ordinary lay people to do important scholarly work,
Yes.
such that it now stands as the international center
That's correct. Yep.
for anyone who is doing research on the African American
You go
experience
there.
and the black diaspora, and that's the place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that means, because one of the things that we try to emphasize here on Black Westchester is this is a time, as the presence of the Deltas attests, for black communities to go back to a tradition of self-organizing in a number of areas where we find a need.
Yes.
And if we're going to look for knowledge of our history and in order to figure out direction in the future, or we're going to try to figure out what kind of social service plans we need in order to make sure that we have vibrant, healthy communities, we are the first line of agency. The responsibility ultimately falls on us, and we've got to do it.
You brought something to mind. I made it available. I worked with the Mount Vernon Public Library. They archive Black Westchester. So, years from now, as long as there's a Mount Vernon Public Library, there'll be the archive of it. I might want to talk to somebody there and see if we can, with the process of getting the paper archived, so it's in their archives. For,
Right.
For that might be interesting. So.
Well, let me
would be.
talk to, I'm also a board member for Greenberg Public Libraries.
Yes,
so-
we definitely need that because I
They're
drop
awesome
off.
there.
We drop
Greenberg.
off most
Yeah.
months. So I don't get there every month, but I try to. But
I
will
was just there
definitely-
this week talking about Dr. Olivia Hooker, who is
Okay.
who
You-
was
we-
a member.
We featured a few times in the paper. But yeah, I would love to some of the local libraries to just archive. I was in the Mount Vernon Public Library. There's a paper from the 40s from Mount Vernon, the Fleetwood something or whatever.
When our church,
nobody
had-
knows this paper exists, but I actually can still see the paper. Like it's in the archive. It's in the room.
Nice.
You can't. It's not accessible to everybody. You have to
Right.
request it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I want Black Westchester to be that. You know.
It's important because there's in this day and age there aren't a lot of African American press.
Right.
It's imprinted
Right.
in current
And I'm
21st
sorry,
century.
a little selfless. And when we do have some, everybody needs to support it so it can continue
That's right.
to be that. So I'm just
That's
saying.
correct.
I mean,
know,
but it's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's don't apologize. It's the truth. How do they expect for it to get printed out? What they think?
Yeah.
You know, a little change cup or something like that.
We do have a donation button. So people actually do. We've had donations from people who don't have anything to advertise and they just want to support. And some organizations that bring checks and stuff, you know, just to support. But the best way, if you do have to advertise, and we are accepting advertising for the April issue right now. So hit us. Yeah.
So I know I'm going to advertise Let Girls Learn. That's going to be the first weekend in May.
Okay.
In the April issue. We're kind of too late to advertise for. We have an annual. What is it? Toast to Spring.
Oh, it's not too
Solstice-
late. We still selling
Yeah, they're
tickets.
still selling, yep.
Yeah.
Solstice Spring.
When is the event?
Oh.
April 14th is our Toast to Spring scholarship brunch, our
Well,
annual.
we could do the website advertising. The next paper will just be out just before then.
It's the 43rd annual
Okay.
brunch. Each year we do this in order to provide scholarships. Annually, we give out about 14 scholarships. We do the presentation the first weekend of May. There's like a sequence. We do the brunch in April. Our scholarship committee is hard at work from up until this point, interviewing applicants, seeing if they're applicable and determining what scholarship award they're going to get from us. We have the brunch, and then literally a week or 2 weeks after the brunch, we have our scholarship reception. In the past, it was held at the Greenberg Public Library, but it has generated such a popular following. We actually need to see about getting a bigger space this year.
That's always a beautiful thing.
Which is a beautiful thing. The parents, the scholars, they're presented, and we do continue in financing their education while they're in school. So this isn't a one-time scholarship award.
So when is the for people that want to go?
It is the Toast to Spring Scholarship Brunch. It is on April 14th. The time is from 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. We do have an Eventbrite link on our Facebook page where you could connect and purchase online tickets. And I have coined our scholarship brunch the original day party.
All right.
Because, we say a few words, but we get down to the nitty gritty of really celebrating spring and also really bringing our community together to raise money for our scholarships.
So I just want to say two things. So definitely, we have the online site as well, as far as and the newspaper. So the online site, there's advertising, and as well as advertising for the show. That's always available. That's not for you. That's for everybody. And secondly, every time I hear about anything going good in Greenberg, I give a shout out to Dr. Tahira Dupree Chase, who's doing amazing
Dr.
work.
Dr. Chase. We actually work with her.
Okay.
We work with the school district. Dr. Chase, we developed a partnership actually 2.5 years ago for our Embody program.
Okay.
So we have our Embody program with our young boys at her school.
So man, we're coming close to the end of the show. And
That was great.
And I want to give you all. I want to give you all a chance to last words, websites, contacts, and listing events again, or any of that stuff in closing.
Again, dstwac.org, the Westchester Alumnae Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated on Facebook, at DSTWAC on Instagram. Westchester Deltas on Twitter. Following events coming up, April 8th, State of the Family Summit, Iona College, starting at 6 p.m. I'm trying to remember. And
6 p.m.
6 p.m. April 14th, a 43rd annual Toast to Spring Scholarship Brunch, 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Hilton in Hilton, Westchester. And you can acquire your tickets for the brunch. We have an Eventbrite link incorporated within the information on the events section of our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So
I added the link to
Awesome.
the chat just now about Blend, and I also added the link for the 43rd annual scholarship brunch. The
Yep.
chat just now about
we're also continuing to do service. Next weekend we have our Sisterhood Regional Day of Service, where we will be partnering with all of our chapters within the New York metropolitan area at the Food Bank for New York City in the Bronx. So we're going to be putting together meals and getting those together. We have nearly 200 sorors ready to do this Regional Day of Service next Saturday. So we're going to, it's always constant. And this week, Harlem Fine Arts, how can I forget? In partnership with the White Plains Youth Bureau, that is on March 28th. We have our Harlem Fine Arts event. I just want to make sure that I have the right information to give you all as I look. 'Cause
I
know
just got
time is
quiet
of
right now.
essence.
I thought the Facebook stream had ended, but it didn't.
Oh.
I was a little nervous. I was like, oh wait, I have to make sure everything's still live.
Yeah, it's the Harlem Fine Arts Show, March 28th. It will be at the Rexon Metro Center, which is in White Plains, New York. The time is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And Dr. Chase is actually one of the honorees.
Aha.
Okay? And again, that too is also listed in our events section. And that is being done by our Arts and Letters Committee
Okay.
for our chapter. So, and
before
ticket is
you
$30.
Before we get further, do we have any more names that we didn't read?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Oh.
We have a ton.
We have a ton.
We
So
have a
we
ton of
need
names.
we need to get that. Yeah, we
Yeah,
need to
we
get
have
that
that.
in.
Muhammad Iran Khan, loved to cook and owned 2 restaurants. Hamaz Mustafa, 16, called his mother when the shooting began. Mom, someone is shooting at us in the mosque. High school student. Khalid Mustafa Hamid Mustafa's father was killed. His 13-year-old little brother was wounded, but survived. Janad, and forgive me with the pronunciation of the names. Janad, you want to help? Ismail, is 36, leaves his wife and 2 children. Out of Faith Kasim, 60, he leaves a wife and 3 daughters, who's about to become a grandfather. Ashif Ali, 61. Ashif Azat, 58. Hija Dalad Al-Nabi, 71 years old. Mastalu Safi, 55. He leaves a wife and 7 children. Hassan Al-Amari, 35 years old. Mosa Ulai Salu Patel, 60 years of age. Asad Ali Mazari had 2 children. Hussein Mustafa loved the mosque, loved cleaning it, and welcomed others to worship. Munir Solomon, 68, he was married and had 2 children. Zalan Razi, he was killed with his father and mother at the mosque. Leek Adu Hamid lives a wife and 2 children. Ghassin Hussan was in his 60s and was visiting his son. Karim Bibi, in her 60s, was killed with her husband and is survived by 1 daughter. Mascot Ifram, 3 years old, was the youngest to be killed. Adakar Elmi, 78, oldest to die. He was survived by 5 sons, 4 daughters, and his wife of 50 years. Mustafa Mohsin Al-Harabi had worked in New Zealand for 25 years in water distillation, When his wife saw him, she had a heart attack and was in a hospital. Assam Anan Youssef, 37 years old, leaves a wife and 3 children. Majali Had, 30 years old, was a student at the university. Muhammad Omar Farah, 36, his wife was pregnant with their first child. Muhammad Adasi Samad, 66, was a lecturer at Lincoln University. Tariq Amar coached the football team. Muse Na Awal, 77, was married and had no children. Ahmad, how you like that one? Okay. Gama
Gamaludin Abdel Ghani.
a 68, leaves a wife and a son. Everyone, if your hearts are not crying, you know, just definitely leaves you speechless. We read 47 names in total. Please, 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 we have to pray. We have to come together. We have to do something. It starts with all of us, not just one of us, okay?
Can we just, with you saying about with gun violence, can we just give a shout out to Moms Demand Action?
For better gun sense
better-
laws
yes,
in America.
yes.
Because we have
Doing a thing.
We're doing a great, you know, with Sin as our social action chair,
Yes.
we've been doing a partnership with the Westchester chapter of Moms Demand Action, and we're on the process of even expanding that partnership locally, of course, and then on a national level, our organization does has that organization
Right.
recognized under every town for gun safety.
I think maybe I don't know. When I first met AJ, right? I met AJ at his mom's wake.
Wow.
I didn't know who AJ was.
Actually, the funeral. You came to the
At the
funeral.
funeral, I came to the funeral?
You came with Damon. Yes, I appreciate it.
Damon was going, and you know, Damon, that's my best friend and everything. So me and Damon, and I met AJ. Damon went away somewhere, and I was like, AJ, I need you to come with me somewhere. So I took AJ with me to Eric Gardner's funeral. And then AJ became a peacekeeper. He didn't know. I was like, yo, AJ, you gotta get ready to carry the casket.
I was working. They had me working.
like,
We were blocking the public so the family could come out.
Wow.
Yeah.
We being interviewed. They had
Yeah,
me
I
wearing
was
the
like,
shirt.
AJ,
I
go
was
over
like,
there.
yeah.
I said, AJ, go over there and just
Shout to the
you know,
peacekeepers. Shout to
the
Captain
casket getting ready
Dennis.
to come out. AJ, go over there,
Yeah.
carry the casket, put it inside the bag. AJ was like, yo, and so that's how AJ and I met. And so when I go to like these different things and AJ always supports them. And always wants you to write a paper about
Actually, yes. Like, yo, can I get a couple of words on that?
it. I
Some
try
pictures?
to like hide a little bit, and then he'll text
She'd be
me
like,
and
yeah, I
yo,
went to this
okay,
event.
what's up with the
He posted the picture. I said, can I get some words to go with that for the paper? Yeah. But we're coming to the close of the show, so I need last words because we.
thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
really
it. Thank you.
We
Thank you
appreciate
for all the great work that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Bob, last word.
And we appreciate the inspiration that y'all give to all of us to, assume our responsibility as community leaders, and we hope that we can follow in the footsteps that y'all have trailblazed.
Awesome.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for the comments.
Loud shout out to Lorraine. What's up, Lorraine?
Yes, and Cynthia can attest to this. We created this show for conversations like this, and then at one point we got, all things are local in politics. There was a lot going on, and we was covering more politics. And someone said, "Hey, man, I'm hearing the politics, but they forgetting about the people." So, shout to what was that? Sugar Ray? Was it Sugar Ray?
Sugar Ray.
Yeah, shout to Sugar Ray. So, so there is a lot that has to be covered as far as the political structure, spectrum, the candidates and everything, the things they don't do right, we have to uplift and hold them feet to the fire. But conversations like this, interviewing and spotlighting organizations like yours and individuals like y'all, period, that are doing the work in the community that people may not know, send open door policy. Y'all have stuff that y'all need to address. Things that
Definitely.
that,
We'll be back.
Yes. So I mean, the show is only as good. Like a lot of people think I know everything. I don't. I know a lot of y'all. So and y'all keep me informed. And
No,
it makes me look good.
We'll
It makes me look real
definitely be
informed.
back. I know one of the things we didn't get to touch on was the census.
Right.
So
And the power of the black women vote.
yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. Both of those. I was gonna say, can we get that in? But we don't have. Neither one of them are 50-second, 1-minute conversation. So yeah.
Quick. Let's just put it like this. Census, my people, it is essential when they knock on your doors, because they are starting to do that now, gearing up and ramping up to do it, answer the door.
Complete
It
the
is-
census, it
yes.
equals money.
Yes.
You
For
do
your
not complete
community,
the
right.
census,
Right.
and they will assume that that community does not need that money.
And I want to give a 30-second comment on politics in Mount Vernon. We've been looking at the gender composition of the electorate in the city of Mount Vernon, and it's noteworthy that nearly 70% of women who are eligible to vote are registered. There are 25,000, more than 25,000 women in Mount Vernon, and 17,000 of them are registered Democrats. Unfortunately, the numbers of men do not compare as favorably. There are 20,000 men, 18 or over, eligible to vote, and unfortunately, only 11,000 of them are registered. That's 54% of male voters compared to 70% of female voters. It's a gap of like 6,000 persons, and I think it's important because it does augur changes in the electorate and demonstrates to anyone who's going to be a viable candidate for office in the city of Mount Vernon and municipalities across the country that we have to take seriously both the issues of women, but also a rising wave of new female leadership. And I'll leave it at that.
And with that said, again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, our hearts go out to those who were killed in New Zealand. We need to get rid of that attitude, oh, that was over there, that has nothing to do with us. We have that problem locally where people go, oh, that's Greenberg, oh, that's Yonkers, oh, that's just Mount Vernon. No, it involves all of us. It affects all of us. So our hearts go out. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere.
That's right.
And we need to speak on it. And I thank Sin for bringing that up and all of y'all for reading the names. Thank you all. We're working on the April issue right now. We got a little pushback. So the March issue came out March 15th. So the April issue is going to come out actually the 12th, not the 15th. But we're going to work our way back to the first of the month cycle. But for the next couple of months, it's coming out in the mid-month. So advertising for that for the next issue is you have another week or so, but get your advertisement, your artwork, and your payment in as soon as possible. Contact us at blackwestchester@gmail to do that. Couple of big shows coming up. I know we still have State Senator Alexandria Biaggi coming on April 24th. I think we have, I'm not sure who's coming before then, but we're filling the calendar and trying to get as many, our representatives on and community leaders to come speak about the issues. With that said, you could be doing anything right now, but you decide to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday night from 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you that real talk since 2014.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim. of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.